Hello everyone, my name is Lily. Welcome to Dear Jess. Dear Jess is a grief support channel for those who are grieving the death of their very close friend. My best friend died almost 3 years ago. Today we're going to talk about something called grief attacks. I think this is something that I want to address very early on with you guys because I think it would have helped me so much to learn about these sooner than I did. So what's a grief attack? If you look up a grief attack, it's going to say something about sudden physical manifestations that occur when someone is grieving. Sudden physical manifestations of grief, of pain that seem to happen out of nowhere. I've seen that they're, triggered by a memory. For me, they seem to come completely out of the blue. For me, most of the time, this would happen usually when I was feeling joy. Usually I would feel, it was sunny, the birds were singing. My friend loved to be outside. I remember several times just feeling happiness to be outside and hear the birds and the sun, and then suddenly, just out of nowhere, feeling like I couldn't breathe. And I don't mean I metaphorically couldn't breathe. I mean I couldn't breathe. Like a feeling like you got kicked in the chest and you just couldn't breathe. And it was just so painful. And it would be this immense, for me, it was just this joy that I was feeling. Again, I remember it being a lot when it was nice outside. And suddenly I was feeling like this is going to be a happy day, just when I was in pure joy, which took a long time. But when I started feeling happy at times again, that it wasn't going to be a terrible day, that's when this would happen. It happened sometimes if I was laughing with my kids. All of a sudden I couldn't breathe, and sometimes I felt that my legs were going to give out below me, and it was this realization that what I was experiencing, this beauty in the world, or this fun time I was having with my child, that Jessie was never going to have. And to be honest, it was this guilt for feeling happy, which she couldn't. And it was troubling because you can't breathe. And it was troubling because those around you would see this happen. And, it was one thing when it would happen when I was with my husband or my kids, my family, but sometimes it would happen at work. And something would take my breath away. Again, sometimes I have no idea why it happened. But, I'd just be moving along, sometimes just doing nothing exciting at all. And it was like I just saw her die. It was like I'm seeing her dead in front of me again. It was like real, raw pain. It's like just finding out that she just died. And the only frame of reference I had for this actually came from my friend. My friend's mom died. Jessie's mom died when we were juniors in high school. And I remember Jessie telling me that when she found out her mom died, that she was vomiting. And I remember thinking, I was 17 when she was telling me this. And I mean, she told me this many times in my life, but when I first heard this, I was 17, that she said she was vomiting. And I remember thinking how strange and how odd, and really just being so surprised. Like, I remember asking her, were you sick? I just didn't know. And again, I was so young. As an adult and what I've been through, it makes so much sense. I remember her telling me that she was sick. because her mom died, and it didn't make sense to me as a young person. It didn't make sense to me until this time in my life that grief is not just this mental thing. It's a physical, it can be so physical. And these grief attacks just took me, they would take over. And it was just, when it happened in public, it was so distressing. I would have to just run to the bathroom. Most of the time this would occur for me, it would take my breath away. I just couldn't breathe. It hurt. It physically hurt so much. And I remember sometimes I was just cooking dinner and then suddenly I just wanted to cry and scream. And my kids would, at first they were scared, and I had to eventually they would laugh because they didn't know what to do. And I would laugh because, what are you going to do? When it would be so sudden, I would laugh for them. So sometimes though, I remember driving to work one day, and there was some traffic going across the bridge, and all of a sudden I was so angry that she wasn't here. And I just started screaming. And again, the reason why these are called grief attacks is because it's different from your normal pain. It's different from your normal everyday, this is shitty. It's just sudden pain and sudden physical something. And so I'm sharing this with you because it took me, I didn't know that this was a thing that wasn't just that was happening to people in pain and who are grieving until a year and a half after I'd been experiencing them. It still happens to me almost 3 years later. It's not as frequent as it was in the first year, but I think they'll always happen. There's always going to be a time, I think, for my whole life. Jessie is a part of me forever. And when I'm 60, there may be a time, still that suddenly it's pain that she's not alive, that she died so young. So I'm telling you this because when these were first happening, I was so distressed, and I thought, what the hell? But eventually, when I realized that they were a thing, that they had a name, first of all, I thought, how come I never heard this before? I mean, I work in medicine. I've been trained. I used to volunteer in hospice a lot, and I never heard of these things. So I learned they didn't get any better when I realized what they were. But what I did differently, and what I would like to share with you if this is happening to you, is to not fight it, not, part of you wants to say, what the heck, stop, but you want to just push it away when this is happening because it's so much pain. But now when it happens to me, if you just allow yourself to be in the moment, allow yourself to feel the pain. I look at these moments now as just a moment when my friend is with me. It's such a moment of intense emotion, but I'm happy still that I feel so much love for my friend. Sorry. And so I just want to tell you, number one, that this is a real thing. Again, I'm all with the real. And number two, just breathe. Love your friend in the moment. Feel the pain. And allow it to pass. And thank your friend for being in your heart through the happy times, bad times, the pain. Keep going. Until next time, please remember that you are not alone. Your pain is real, and your friend mattered and still does.